Hello, hello. Welcome to our weekly AI and SEO digest. We talk about everything that is important these days in SEO and AI world. As always, I have to mention that one is almost inseparable from another. Now, these days, they are overlap in search results, in visibility metrics everywhere. So we talk about both search engine optimization and the AI. In most cases, these two things overlap a lot. I'm an Smarty. I have been an SEO for more than 20 years. I have seen it all. It is a very exciting time to be an SEO for sure. And I'm also the co-founder of Smarty Marketing. We are a boutique SEO agency based in New York. With me today and always, April, our director of social, also designer outreach director. We need to have some defined position name for you, April, because there's so much going on there. But she's not an SEO. She will be bringing up questions from the audience. Please ask any questions that you may have. It's always a very interesting and timely topic that we discuss. And we always love your questions and feedback or ideas for the future. If you want us to cover any particular topic, we are always on top of everything. We meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. Please subscribe and smarty.com to know every topic that we are going to discuss on Wednesday, and also get a link to join. These are free. You don't need to register for anything. We will not follow up with any sales calls or anything. These are just for the community and to talk about the topics that matter at this particular moment. Today we are discussing a very interesting topic. I will not give a huge introduction like I do. I will not do the SEO digest like I usually do because we have a lot to discuss. Today's topic is schema. For those who do not know, schema org is a structured markup that is not visible to people, but it gives some context to crawlers. And at this point, we are also debating if they matter for AI agents as well. It has always been a huge confusion about schema, and it is being transferred to the AI-driven world as well. Schema officially has never been a ranking factor. Just because you have schema doesn't mean you will rank higher. So anytime I, for one, do SEO audits, I usually put some kind of schema recommendations there, but they are never priority 10 or 9 because I never expect that to move the needle in a huge way. Schema can be very helpful for click-through, but only in cases when those are Google's supported schema types. Those are product, events. At some point there were FAQ schema, which is not supported as a rich snippet anymore. That schema helps Google identify some key metrics and enhance search snippets with things like star ratings, pricing, availability, shipping terms, things like that, or dates for the events. Those make search snippets much more attractive. They stand out and they get clicked more. And we know at this point, we know for sure that clicks and behavior on the site, on page engagement, are ranking signals. So in some ways, schema is a ranking factor, but not directly. For other types of schema, we've talked about them before, like author, organization, FAQ, article, news article. All those schema types are also official schema types. But Google has always told us that they are not direct ranking factors, yet they may help search engines understand your business and your page better. SEO has never been about manipulating search results. It has always been about making it easier for machines, for search crawlers. At this point, those are also AI agents, to understand the page, the website, the business, the goal, the relevancy. So whatever helps, we've always recommended doing that, because when you never know, even if it's not a direct ranking signal, it can always help with findability or relevancy, or even what we call EEAT, to connect the dots to understand other channels, what the business is doing, how long it has been in business, things like that. Whether it is a direct signal or not, we will not know. From what I know, even from the court paperwork, it has never come up. But if it can help in any way, whether it's a direct signal or not, it has always been a recommendation. Now with AI, we've been talking a lot about schema in the context, making it easier for AI agents to understand what the page is about and whether it is worth citing it or using it as the answer. My personal recommendation has always been the same. We don't exactly know if it helps or not, but if there is a small chance, then we would recommend using it. There is another thing to remember here, is that most LLMs still depend on search. So whatever is surfaced in search, whatever is very visible in organic search, Google or Bing, I have found a lot of correlation with Google. It is always like we don't really know whether schema may have helped in organic search, and that's how the citation got into the answer, or whether AI agents somehow used schema. Don't forget that unlike search crawlers, AI agents can access your site in many different ways. Sometimes they just know about your site and they create the answer based on their own knowledge, which is called training data. And when they write the answer, after that, they may find citations that support that statement. So it always comes from, in many ways, I will not say always because we really don't know, but in many ways it all comes down to what the training data has about the particular prompt or particular business. And after that, the citations come from that answer. AI agents can search. AI agents can browse. They open the page, and they said when they open the page, they cannot see schema because they mark everything down. They can only see the text on the page. So it's all very different, and it's all very not as straightforward as with search engines. And even with search engines, we don't have direct answers. There are a lot of studies about that. Some of them claim schema cannot be useful for AI agents. Other types of studies do find a great correlation between citability and schema usage. It's all very misleading and confusing. Today, we're going to talk to someone who has done a very in-depth research on how schema may be helpful. Before we introduce, I will ask my team to share that link to the study so that our viewers and listeners can read the study while I am introducing our guest. The particular study is about influence on AI overviews. For those who do not know, AI overviews are not LLMs. They don't have training data. AI overviews summarize search results. So let's keep that in mind as well, because at that point, the influence of whatever is ranking on top of search results is very obvious, and we should keep that in mind. It's not just about LLMs and how they may access and use schema. It's about AI overviews, and AI overviews are part of organic search results. With that, I will introduce, and April, please add our guest to the stage. Ben, he's the co-founder and CEO of AISO. AISO is a great, very innovative AI visibility and analysis platform. We had Ben before to talk about his platform, and I personally have been an early adopter as well and a tester of that as well. A very unique platform. And we are talking about the research that was done by the team behind the AISO. I also ban. It's the URL is what, get AI. Yes, get AI. I will share, and I hope my team will be able to share that around as well. I don't know what it does when I share it here. I hope it will be shared everywhere. Looks like so. Wow, that's that's new to me. So Ben, let's discuss your test. I will ask questions because I do have many, and I also shared that on my Reddit with some notes about my opinion as well. Please join my subreddit, by the way. It's SEO for AI, and we will share that in comments as well. If you want to know about exciting studies like this is the place to go. But Ben, let's discuss when it started, what you did, and a few notes from me and questions will follow as well.
Yeah, so essentially maybe I'll give a bit of background. There's been a lot of discussion on schema markup, as you say, so and the impact on AI search. We in the team we come from a data background, and essentially a lot of time we spend a lot of time labeling things, saying giving like a consistent name, for instance, to things. Just like in the supermarket, it's really useful to have labels so that you see that this is meat or this is vegan, this sort of stuff. So intuitively in the team, we were thinking that schema markup will help machines, will help LLMs. And of course, there is all the background of how it helps Google with which snippets and everything. And so we had we had this feeling, okay, it's probably gonna help somehow. And then there were a bunch of studies. We did one, and then we met Molly Katz, who did another one. And the one we did was really super simple. We just did like two websites, like it was the same website, same content, one with schema, one without schema, and we asked questions through ChatGPT. It was like a fictional company with like a CEO who was Sarah Chen, something like this, and Sarah had some awards also. There was a backstory, I think, a couple of stories, and we asked questions to ChatGPT, and essentially was better able to find information on the website with schema than the one without, even though the content was the same. And that was a very simple study. Just anecdotally, we repeated it a few times, but we didn't scale it in any way or control for a lot of things. It was super simple, and the impact was about 30%. So there were basically about a third of the element that ChatGPT was missing without the schema. In particular, there's things that are a little bit complex, like certification or ratings, like 4.9 out of 5 for the product, things like that. And there was like it was actually also the beginning of the company, so it was a way to meet the SEO community, and there were like some I think Anna, we sort of met at this time, and we met other people. Olesia Korobka also did some great comments, and that was amazing. There was like some super good debates, and there were a lot of criticism. And there was actually one super interesting by Dan Petrovic. I hope I say the name okay. Where basically he replicated, because we gave the whole website and the code and everything, and he replicated the experiment exactly the same. Two websites, same content, still the same company, same CEO, blah blah blah. And he couldn't replicate the results. I think it was not super clear that the better visibility was sometimes for the one with schema, sometimes for the one without schema. It wasn't as clear as us. And I think the issue is that now the content has been indexed, so now it's in SERP API, so it's like actually hard to do like a clean experiment. But basically Dan did this work, and he was like, look, it doesn't replicate, right?
That's exactly what I thought, that he should have done that with new details, because when ChatGPT knows something, it doesn't necessarily need to go to a website to give you the information. So that the second test may be influenced by that.
Yeah, that's right. And it can be in the cache of the whichever tool they use, right? Like they used to use Bing and then Google, and now we think it's SERP API. Now it's maybe something else. And it becomes a little bit hard to. And ChatGPT is not good at telling you what it's actually doing, right? So
Yep.
you might tell him to go to this website, and he pretends to go, but actually, you can also see in the when I try to replicate the test now, it's actually answering faster than before. So I do feel like there's something that's changed, but
Mm-hmm.
this is a tricky one, and so but it was amazing to have like this criticism, right? And then it's very respected in the community, so we were like honored to have this challenge. And then at the same time, Molly did an experiment which was a bit more scientific than the way we did, a bit more serious, where essentially she took thousands of websites already existing, and she aimed to find websites of the same. So Molly is super strong in SEO. She has a background of SEO. We come more from data. We are learning SEO. She comes from SEO, and she's learning AI SEO like we all do. But she's really, really strong in SEO. And so basically, she looked at like thousands of websites, and she looked at some that had a schema, some that didn't have a schema, and there was a similar keyword difficulty. And she saw a little bit of a trend where the ones with schema were doing a little bit better. It was not like a huge impact, but it did seem to be a bit better. And in particular, she looked specifically at AI overview. So AI overview, as you say, Anne, is called because it's not really AI. At least it's not really LLM with training data. But it's sort of like, I mean, I don't know actually what you think about this, and this is maybe off topic, but it feels to me like Google is gradually putting AI a little bit everywhere, and AI overview is like the sort of entry, the gateway drug. No, like it's very like it's soft because there is still the concept of links, but it's still a step towards something a little bit more conversational, right? So she focused on that, sorry, and she saw like what seemed to be a positive impact, but then there were like a lot of her posts got a bit viral, I think, and there were lots of super interesting comments. And one of them was that the website she was looking at were really different, right? She looked at really a lot of them, and so you could have like a better visibility for dozens of other reasons, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had this issue that we couldn't replicate our results, and she was interested to dig further. So we felt, maybe we can like join forces, and this time we do more like the lab approach, like a little bit like we did with the first one. Like we create website a little bit like labs do, experiments, instead of the statistical approach I think that she had, where you look at lots of things that already exist, and then it's hard to control. So we did like kind of in between, right? Like a halfway, where we thought, okay, let's create 3 websites. And Olesia did a really good comment, which was that it's not just about the schema, it's about the quality of the schema. So it has to be like a good schema, not just like it's not binary. It's not just whether you have schema or not. And so that was kind of the background, and maybe that was a bit long, I'm sorry, but basically that was like, the stuff we did before. And so we decided, and that was actually during the holiday. It was a great collaboration with Molly. I really appreciated it. She kind of worked around a festival about Shakespeare that she was going to, so it was pretty fun to meet her that way. And so we thought, okay, let's create 3 websites from scratch. We'll look at Ahref and find 3 similar keywords, like in terms of keywords difficulty. So 3 topics which have like similar difficulty, and we'll create the websites. We'll submit them to Google Search Console. We'll see if they start to rank, and we'll see if they start to appear in AI overview. And we'll have like the difference is going to be that one is going to have no schema at all. Another one is going to have a schema, but the bad one. And I can tell you how we did the bad one. But basically, we made mistakes, inconsistencies, blah blah. And then one had like a good schema, complete, long, blah blah blah. And then it was pretty amazing what happened. So we submitted and then the rest was like, that was the difference with her experiment, that the rest was like super simple and exactly the same. Like it was basically like 1 page, only text, pure HTML, maybe a bit of CSS, I don't remember, but mostly HTML, like no, JavaScript or React or whatever. Simple page, boom, content. The topics were things that were niche, but not crazy niche. So we had like one which was a data lake versus data pool. Another one was like the cost of building a marketing team. And another one, the last one I don't remember. Something kind of like similar kind of topic, not super specific, but a bit specific. And we built the website and then we submitted them to Search Console. And basically, shall I give the results now, or you have any question at this stage?
No. Proceed to how Google Search Console treated all of those websites. From what I understand, two of them were indexed right away, and one of them was not.
Yes, exactly. So the the last one was like the common elements of a promotional mix. So basically, still in the marketing world, like basically, what's the typical balance between sales and marketing, and within marketing conferences versus online marketing.
So those are basically one page, subdomain, all websites.
No, they were independent domain. They were like we created new domains for them, so it wasn't even.
Right. The keyword, the exact keyword match domains, right? And
yes,
how fast were they indexed once you submitted them? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. So we submitted them, and then they were crawled immediately, and that's I think pretty much immediate, or at least they tell you they start immediately, and then the two that had a schema were indexed very quickly. I think it was a week, something like this, maybe less. And the one that didn't have a schema was not indexed, like in the same amount of time, in 1 week, because it's been changed over time. So I'll do step by step. But the first step was the two with schema were indexed, and the one without schema was not indexed. So it was crawled but not indexed, like in the kind of queue. Then a few days after, the one with good schema started to appear in the search results, like the classic Google links. It was number three, I think, for like data pool versus data lake, exactly the keyword.
It was number 4 at the time I was testing that.
Right. So first page, decent. We were actually a bit surprised, and also, so basically it was there, and it was also in the AI overview. So of course, Molly checked that those questions were triggering AI overview, and because it's not the case for everything, right? It has to be a bit informational, and so they were starting to appear. I mean, this page they put versus data lake, so the good schema one was in the AI overview very quickly. So both in the links and in the AI overview. And then the one with that schema, but not good schema, it was in the links, like first page also, but not in the AI overview. So that was the kind of aha moment where we were like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I think the one that had the no schema started to be indexed much later or something like this. And I don't think it showed up anywhere. Neither of the results, or at least not in the first pages, and so there's some things that we can criticize here. There's some people say, well, but no.
Oh, I will. I will.
and we actually have. I mean, it's actually Molly who came up with it. We want to do like a follow-up experiment where we control like even more, like we fine-tune even more the control. But you do have something that is kind of interesting. That there's a bunch of things that happen, right? It was indexed faster, and
that's I feel like this is a great test, but to me, so knowing how search results work and knowing how AI overviews work, so they basically save resources and everything else, and they grab whatever they can. And of course, I looked at those websites. They are very, apart from schema, they also have a very AI friendly or featured snippet friendly, even if we don't take AI at this point, structure. So it picked the one that is ranking and is very easy to pull information from. So at this point, we don't know if it looked at schema or not. It was ranking number 3, 4, depending on when you looked. And it was very easy It's like featured snippet optimization in the traditional way, where you could be ranking 5, but because you had all those Q&A sections and headings with, it would pick featured snippets, would pick that page as well, just because it's structured well. But what your test, in my mind, what it's showing is that it gets Schema does make it easier for search engines to understand the page, because it can be crawled. Any page can be crawled at any moment, but Google decides what to index based on how useful and easy it is for Google to understand what the page is about. So that's why I asked all those questions about AI mode as well, and maybe you could test that in ChatGPT. ChatGPT is very easy like that as well. In my tests, when you get page ranking in top 10 in Google, you have like 90% of chances to see for exact match. There's that, like the prompt variety can be very difficult, but for exact match, it's pretty easy. I will tell you the trick that I was testing recently, and it worked for me. Maybe you can test that as well with your test site if they're still live. So what this test is definitely showing is that Schema helps indexing the page faster, which comes through all, like, it's ranking faster, it picks up by AI overviews faster. But this is my personal perspective on that. With ChatGPT, what I've been trying to do is you can prompt it something, exact match, and then see where it fanned out, and search Google for the fan out query instead of the original one. And you will see a lot of overlap there as well. So you can test that out with your test sites now that they are ranking in Google. So there is some visibility. Trust me, whether I believe it worked, this schema worked for AI overview or not, doesn't matter, because I'll take it. If it's helpful for organic visibility, and that's what the test seems to show, that is good enough for me. And that is definitely the priority of using Schema in my audits is going up at this point because of this test. But I would love to hear what you mentioned. You were going to do part 2 of that test, and when are you doing that? Because we would love to meet again and discuss that part. Maybe I will change my mind again at that point.
Yeah. I mean, we want to do it. We have another experiment also we'd like to do, but this one maybe we do it soon. I mean, the idea was to essentially take the same website, but like swap the schema. So we keep like the same topics, but for instance, we put like we take out all the schema from the one that was super successful. We like, it has no schema at all. The data lake versus data pool. We would need to de-index it, blah blah blah. So there's a bunch of like things we need to be careful of, right? Because right now it is indexed, so we need to like de-index, make sure it has been de-indexed, resubmit it without the schema, make sure it hasn't been cached. So there's a bunch of things to do. But if we de-index it,
do you think it would be better to have new domains, add number to each of them, so that it's not, because Google may de-index, but it may still have the history of engagements with that domain. So it may impact the test results as well. So I feel like they index those and register same format domains again, with like each of them may have one at the end, something like that, so that they have no history with Google, no click-through, whatever, and no backlinks as well, because who knows how those you made those public, so may have backlinks and not the similar amount of them. So I would
right.
assume
This we cannot control it. Yeah, you're right. This is out of our hands. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I think we have to. Fair enough. We have to find new keyword. So
no, I mean, we could probably you could use the same keywords, they index the same those websites, and just register new domains that have a
right, new domain. I mean,
whatever.
actually, the domain has the keyword, and then it says like good schema, poor schema, no schema in the so we could like keep the same keywords and change the qualification of the schema at the end, and that would be like a new domain, kind of. And then because then we would control a bit more finely whether maybe the content maybe it was just a question that the content was more interesting for Google, right? So if we swap,
everyone can make that argument that that's just the keyword, because we are relying on third party metrics. Keyword difficulty is not Google's, so
exactly.
it's using the same keywords makes a lot of sense in that way. Like we would prove that was the keyword that was actually easier than Ahrefs thought, instead of schema, no schema, whatever. But I feel like
go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the clearer impact would be if the one that hasn't been indexed very quickly was indexed and started to rank and started to appear in AI overview, because then we would really have like, and of course, if the data lake versus data pool is successful ones that was not picked up, not indexed and not in the overview, then we would be like, okay, that's kind of, there's really something there. So
that would be part 2 would be very, very interesting. But I feel like, and for all our viewers, I feel like the biggest takeaway at this point is that the one with the schema was indexed faster, because we don't know keyword difficulty. We don't know like the real Google's keyword difficulty. I mean, we don't know a lot of other things, but at the stage of indexing, it doesn't really matter how difficult the keyword is or what the competitiveness is. So at the state of indexing, it's all that matters is how easy, how available the page Google thinks. And if schema helped in that, that is a great, that is almost like a direct ranking factor that schema can provide. So I would be curious to see if we swap schema, if the result, at least with indexing, will be as consistent. If the new website with the new keyword is indexed faster than the other two options, that would be just as great as a result as we can wish for. I would say that. But with that, we're a little bit over time. Thank you so much, Ben, for sharing your test. We will be looking forward and covering your part 2, part 3, however we need to have some conclusive results. Good luck with those. If you need help, let me know. I'm always here. Thank you so much, April. Thank you so much, Ben. And see you next week with more exciting news and updates and studies in our industry. Again, subscribe in smarty.com so that you know what we're discussing every Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST, and where we're discussing that. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you, April.